back with me for a quick Q&A. We're going to open questions to the audience after a few questions. But first of all, I'd like to ask, how did you feel the first time you watched it?
First of all, I want to just apologise for the fact that the end credits music is not playing now, but we started so late, they have to finish it. So the next session can come in. And I would also like to say that the composer, Jade Kurzel, is actually with us tonight. Round of applause. The first time I saw this film, I thought it wasn't very scary. And I was like, oh, this could have been so good if it was scary. And then the second time I saw it was at the opening of the Sundance Film Festival, and the audience around me was leaping out of its seats and screaming, "Ow, Jesus!" screaming at the top of their heads. And Radek, the cinematographer, and Alex and Jennifer and Christina and Kristen and I were standing up the back kind of going, so, yeah.
Well, I think we all agree it's an amazing performance, but a very stressed performance a lot of the time. So can you tell us a bit about the shoot and how was it kind of creating this character?
Well, I think Jennifer has written a very beautiful and true character who really goes from really repressing absolutely everything, this horrible and dark tragedy of her husband's terrible car accident on the way to giving birth. She's just pushed it right down. She's pushed everything away into this really safe, let's not face it, place. And she goes on this kind of treacherous and magnificent journey to discover that she can love her child, really. And the rehearsal process for Jennifer was a year ahead of me at drama school, and so we knew each other very well. And I knew that she was a great actress and had written the character in her head. She'd acted it as she'd written it, and because I knew she was a really good actress, I could trust her completely. And we just spent several weeks before we started shooting just playing with Noah, doing lots of playing with Noah, and also just playing with me by myself, having to go to places that can be really, really challenging as an actor, to go into these places in front of anyone, let alone a room full of 12 people who are all staring at you. It's all very well to do something on stage, which I've done often, where you have 1,000 people looking at you and no one's judging you. But if you're right beside someone in a room and they're right there going, and then you feel this, now what are you feeling? And everyone's looking at you. It can be incredibly confronting. Jen had written a lot of stuff in the script where Amelia's physical being is quite changed when she lets it in. We did a lot of work looking at Buto and the physical change of actually being, I guess, possessed by your own greatest evil self. And after we had done this alone together, then I felt safe enough to sit in a dark space with the camera crew around me and start letting her be these big things. But we started and we tried to shoot as much in sequence as we possibly could, so that Noah's and my relationship was quite lovely and light to begin with, and we'd done a lot of play together. And we went to the bigger and darker places and the more physically complicated places further and further into the shoot. It was grueling, it was full of bruises, and Noah was completely protected in this process. We changed the language whenever we were talking to him. Whenever I was shooting whenever it was my shot, he was not in the room. I had a guy on his knees that I could treat however I wanted to treat. and yeah, a lot of language was changed for him, or I would literally pull sound out of my mouth if I was saying something directly to him. I would just literally, whatever I wanted to say, and I would ADR it afterwards, so that he was protected.
Like, how much did he understand of the story and what was going on?
No, he never read the script. He's not from, he just started doing drama classes when his drama class teacher said, they're auditioning for a film, would you like to do this?
What age is he?
He was 6 in the movie. He's 8 now, about to turn 9. His mum was studying child psychology, and she thought that when he was given this opportunity that it was something that she couldn't say no to, and she was with us the whole way, the most amazing woman, so it was Jen and Gillian, his mum, and I were like 3 archangels surrounding him and making sure that nothing ever harmed him, that at the end of anything scary we were all cuddling him and giggling. He was often on that rocking horse going and there was lots of play in, you know, if he had to have a fit, you know, we'd lie down on the ground and show him how to have a fit. We'd all have our own fits. If he had to have a tantrum, we'd be driving along in the car going, have you ever had a tantrum? You'd be like, no. Oh, really? Well, this is how I have my tantrum. No. And Jen would go, this is how I do it. And, you know, we'd do our stupid, crazy tantrums in the car. And, can you do that? And he'd go, yeah. You know, we just did lots of playing and silliness, or, you know, and there were some terrible moments where I had to threaten to fill a bucket with cement and put his Lego in it and throw it into the sea and things like that, and he'd be like, you know, but we played together, we loved each other, and he's the most beautiful child because as an actor, I think there are moments where you experience something so genuinely true. That's my aim, that's the whole point. I am an actor, is when you can merge yourself and your character in one moment and experience knowingly that your character is exactly where they're meant to be. And it's kind of, I guess, the sensation that people who do skydiving or crazy sports to have this sense of adrenaline and release and not knowing where it's going to come from, and you throw yourself off a cliff and you are flying. And he had those moments where he'd come out of something and go, oh, I was really good! I was really good! And you know, it was really beautiful kind of experience.
I'm going to ask one more question, but then I'm going to throw it out, so if you want to have a think about what you'd like to ask Essie, then think now. Okay, this is Jennifer's debut feature, and it's a very female story, I felt, and of course she's a female director, so did you feel, and was that part of the appeal, or did you feel kind of different working with a female director in this way?
I loved working with Jennifer simply because I think that she's a really talented woman, and she knew doggedly, specifically, exactly what she wanted. A lot of directors don't have any experience working with actors, and as an actor herself, she knew what I needed to hear, and she also knew that she could take me somewhere where I was not specifically, that was not necessarily my first instinct. I think as a woman, she had written this beautiful female character that really, that I think a lot of women will relate to, and I think mothers will relate to. I don't know many mothers who think they're a really good mum. And I think the experience of working with Jennifer was particular because I knew her and regarded her so highly, and she was my mate. I think a lot of directors, I feel like I know the character better than they do. But when she started directing me, I knew that she'd written this from her heart and that she'd acted it all out to go to those places. So, for example, the bathroom scene, you know, I had a certain idea that this is, you know, post-car accident, really traumatic moment, and I kind of thought I knew where I was going to come into this scene from, what angle I was going to approach it from. And I walked into the room and she's like, okay, yes, this is the most serene moment. You could not be happier. This is the most beautiful moment for you in the film. It's like, the bath is warm, everything's great. And I went, okay. I just threw my ideas straight out the window because I just went, you know what you want to make? You specifically know what you want to make, and I will make what you want to make.
Okay, so does anyone have a question? Okay.
I guess the obvious question is, why was it called the Babadook?
Why was the film called The Babadook?
Why was the monster called the Babadook? Where did that come from?
Well, Jen wanted she wanted a word that a child could have made up. That was not the boogeyman and was not Baba Yaga or anything related to any particular culture or any particular definite history, fairy tale, boogeyman. But she wanted something that would have a beautiful sound. A child could have made it up. It has a lovely alliteration, and it sort of led to, well, if it's in a word or if it's in a look, you can't get rid of the Babadook. And it sort of became this beautiful kind of possible fairy tale sound that could have this epic history, but is really only the history of the Babadook. It's not an old saying. But also there are little tiny slivers of hints through the film that really, in the scene where the birthday party, where all of the mothers are trying really their hardest to include Amelia in their world, and she's done a little bit of writing. She's written some children's books. There's little tiny slivers of hints through the movie that the Babadook is not necessarily an external being.
Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I just want to say firstly, that was truly an amazing performance.
Thank you.
Really was. Early on, it sort of put me in mind of Repulsion, but you just took it so far above that it just made it perfect to get around it. I like the way the story was resolved, in that it was just you and Noah who were looking at each other that, it means the thing in the end. And there's no, you didn't go to the Hollywood way of bringing in like an police or an exorcist kind of thing. Was the story always, did it always have that outcome and that way of doing things, or?
Yeah, in regards to the ending, and this man loved the way it was ended, with the love of the child and the mother alone together having defeated this thing. Well, I think it always had that ending. Jen had written that ending, and there was a lot of backlash against that ending right through the whole process, from funding, distribution. Everyone hated the ending. It's like, this doesn't make sense, you're pulling the carpet out from people's feet, it's got to, But in fact, what the film is it's about this horrible black side to a lot of people's lives, and you have to live with it. It's not something that can be defeated infinitely. It's all over. If you live with any kind of mental illness or depression, it's something that is there, or grief, it is something that is there. It's not ever going to go away. It's something that you've got to learn to live with and control and be greater than, and maybe, hopefully, never have to experience in the worst possible way ever again. But it's up to you, and it's up to that child's incredible capacity for love, in spite of knowing that his mum doesn't love him, to reach out and go, I think you can love me.
Okay, anyone else?
When can we buy the book?
Jen is actually in discussions about producing the book. There is only, obviously the book is no particular end, because it has lots of blank pages that are yet to be completed. But they're talking about releasing the book with the launch of the film in the USA, which will be, I think the launch here is October 24th.
Yeah.
And if you liked this film, please tell people about it, Facebook them, tweet it. It really is reliant on your word of mouth for people to go to the cinema now, particularly for unusual art house cult movies. If you like it, please get people to go and buy tickets to it when it comes out October the 24th. And I think it's November 28th in the USA, but I'm not 100% sure about that date.
Okay, well I think we can all agree an incredible film and a particularly exceptional performance from Essie. So if we could have a round of applause for Essie. Okay, so go check out the movie on October